Beneath the streets of America, where the sound of traffic fades into a low, distant hum, entire lives unfold in the dark. Miles of storm drains, service tunnels, and forgotten utility corridors form an invisible parallel world, running beneath some of the richest cities on Earth.
People that live down below us that never seen the day of light.
Here, light from manholes and cracks in the pavement falls in thin silver lines that shimmer on damp concrete walls. For those who live here, this underworld is both refuge and exile, a place where the unwanted can disappear and survive. Most people never imagine the scale of it. Beneath Las Vegas alone, more than 600 miles of flood channels snake beneath the casinos and neon lights, hidden just below the surface of luxury and excess. In Los Angeles, the labyrinth stretches under freeways and industrial zones, its tunnels scrawled with names, memories, and warnings in spray paint. In New York, the remnants of disused subway lines and maintenance shafts hide those who slipped too far beyond the reach of the city's light. Each tunnel has its own society, its own rules, its own ghosts. Across the United States, an estimated 500,000 to 600,000 people are homeless on any given night, and roughly 1,000 to 2,000 of them live primarily in underground spaces such as flood channels, utility tunnels, or abandoned subway lines. The largest known concentration exists beneath Las Vegas, where between 1,000 and 1,500 people inhabit the 600 miles of storm drains that run below the city. Most tunnel dwellers are men, making up about 70 to 75% of the population, while women account for the remaining 25 to 30%, often living in small groups for safety. The majority are between 35 and 60 years old, though around 10% are under 30, typically runaways or displaced youth, and a smaller portion are elderly individuals over 65 who have nowhere else to go. In these forgotten spaces, time behaves differently. There are no windows, no sense of day or night, only the low pulse of dripping water echoing down the corridor. Flashlights and battery lamps illuminate makeshift rooms made from discarded plywood and blankets. The air smells of mildew and damp metal, yet to the people who live here, it smells like safety, because up above lies a world that does not see them, or worse, does not care to. They call it the tunnels, the drains, or simply home. Most who end up underground come from above. Many once had jobs, houses, and families before a few bad turns, lost work, addiction, divorce, medical debt forced them down here. In Las Vegas, some came chasing luck and found only loss, left stranded when the dice turned cold. Others fled abusive homes or mental illness that the healthcare system refused to treat.
Most people automatically assume they're all drunks or they're all drug addicts. I know at one time I did. That's not the case. Sometimes real things actually happen to people that put them there that they have no control over.
The tunnels, though dangerous, offered something no shelter could: privacy, freedom, and a strange, fragile community bound by shared invisibility. The underground world functions by its own logic. Each tunnel has territories, often informal but respected. There are rules: never steal from another's camp, never shine light into a neighbour's space without warning, and when the rain comes, everyone warns the rest. Because when a storm hits the desert or the city, the tunnels can flood within minutes. Water rushes through like a living force, sweeping away everything in its path: beds, clothes, even people. Those who survive learn to listen to the sound of thunder like a soldier to the drum of war.
How often does it flood down here?
It's right over the floodgate.
What happens when it floods? Do you just have to get as many of you die?
People do, yep.
Further east, in Kansas City and St. Louis, abandoned storm drains and service ducts host small groups who stay hidden from police patrols. They trade in scrap metal and small jobs, scavenging copper wire or aluminum cans to sell for a few dollars. In New York, the Mole People became urban legend. Journalists in the 1980s described secret societies living beneath the subway system. Entire families who had built multi-room apartments lit by stolen electricity. The reality was less romantic, but no less human. Beneath the rumbling trains of Manhattan and the Bronx, dozens of people carved out niches in forgotten stations and service tunnels. Some scavenged food from dumpsters, others panhandled topside, then retreated below each night. For many, the underground offered more security than a shelter filled with violence and theft. The tunnels are silent witnesses to the contradictions of modern America. Just feet above them, billions of dollars move through casinos, skyscrapers, and entertainment venues each day. Yet below, people build lives from trash, crafting order from ruin. Addiction and trauma follow many into the darkness. Methamphetamine, heroin, and alcohol circulate as both escape and currency. Some used to numb the cold or fear, others to silence memories of lives once lived. Overdose is common, yet even death is handled quietly. Friends carry the body out through the drain entrance and leave it where the police can find it, then retreat before dawn. It is a ritual without ceremony, one born of necessity and survival. Down here, mourning must be brief because the flood always comes again. But amid that despair exists an astonishing resilience. People share food, protect one another from outsiders, and repair each other's makeshift homes after floods. Couples form. Stray dogs become companions. Someone might trade a flashlight for a can of beans or patch a neighbour's shoes with duct tape. Trust is rare but powerful, a thin thread of humanity holding the underground together. As one woman said, "We may have nothing, but we still got each other. That's something." Some outsiders have tried to help. Volunteers and former tunnel dwellers have begun outreach efforts, bringing blankets, food, and medical care into the drains. In Las Vegas, a man named Matt O'Brien wrote about the tunnel people and later helped dozens move into housing. His visits revealed an ecosystem that most of the city didn't want to acknowledge. People cleaning the tunnels, organizing shared storage, even maintaining small libraries of rescued books. Yet, despite these efforts, for every person who escapes the tunnels, another soon takes their place. The descent underground is rarely a single event. It is gradual, often invisible, like a shadow that grows until it swallows the light completely. One eviction, one lost paycheck, one overdose, and the world above closes its doors. For many, the tunnels offer a final illusion of control, a place they choose, even if that choice was made by circumstance. A man in Kansas City once said, "Up there, I was homeless. Down here, I got a home." His words hung in the air like a challenge to society's definitions of dignity. The air grows cooler deeper in the tunnels. The walls narrow, the echo sharper, the dark more complete. Here, graffiti turns from art to warning. Arrows pointing to exits, words like danger or safe. Each message tells a story of someone who walked this way before. Above ground, most city dwellers never think about the labyrinth beneath their feet. They step over manholes, drive across flood channels, and walk sidewalks that rest above hidden homes. The divide between surface and subterranean is not measured in meters of earth, but in layers of empathy. One world pulses with light, commerce, and constant motion. The other waits in silence, unseen but alive, breathing through the cracks in the concrete. When dawn breaks above the city, no light reaches the tunnels. The only clue that morning has come is the muffled vibration of traffic and the faint scent of exhaust drifting through storm grates. For those below, the day begins not with sunlight, but with the shuffle of footsteps and the crackle of makeshift stoves. Someone boils water on a small propane flame, another patches a torn tarp, and far away the echo of laughter travels down the pipe, thin but human. In these moments, the tunnels resemble a strange underground village, hidden, improvised, but unmistakably alive. Survival here is an art form. Every object carries potential. A broken shopping cart becomes a bed frame, a plastic crate becomes a chair, a scrap of reflective metal becomes a mirror. Food comes from charity bins, discarded grocery stock, or generous restaurant staff who quietly leave bags near drain entrances. Hygiene depends on ingenuity. People wash in storm runoff or with bottled water collected topside, using car soap or cheap shampoo when available.
This is from one of the casinos.
Do you guys use this for anything?
Yeah, we wash clothes.
You guys take showers with this?
We take showers on the other one.
Each day is a negotiation between what's possible and what must be endured. Electricity is the most precious commodity. Some tap into nearby streetlights or power lines with extension cords, a dangerous but necessary skill that can mean the difference between darkness and safety. Others rely on car batteries, solar chargers, or the rare working outlet in maintenance shafts. A glow of light can mean comfort, warmth, or simply the reassurance that the world still holds brightness. The faint hum of a portable radio is often the only link to the surface, news, music, or the sound of another human voice that isn't an echo.
Where do you get the electricity from?
Well, I ain't gonna tell you exactly, but there are places down here where you can. So I could run a line up to the highway and tap into one of the light poles or whatever. You know. What you're looking at right now is basically my bathroom. To your left is my kitchen. This over here is the living room, and upstairs is the bedroom.
Relationships underground are fragile but meaningful. Loneliness is constant, yet companionship offers stability in a world without walls. Two men might share a tunnel section for protection, a woman might share space with her dog, a couple might decorate their alcove with photos rescued from trash bins. In the dark, names fade, replaced by nicknames that mark identity in ways official documents no longer can. Bear, Shorty, Mama D, Professor, Vegas. Each has a history carved into memory rather than written on paper. Stories pass from one tunnel to another like whispered folklore. Every flood season renews the fear. In cities like Las Vegas or Phoenix, flash floods arrive with violent suddenness, swallowing the tunnels within minutes. Those who survive often keep ropes tied to structural beams to climb higher when the storm sirens begin. The walls show stains marking the height of past floods, a grim archive of nature's indifference. After each storm, the survivors rebuild, drying clothes on shopping carts under the open sun, salvaging what the water spared. The underground shelters a mix of people society has abandoned. Veterans with untreated trauma, addicts, elderly people priced out of housing, and young runaways from abusive homes. Many are victims of economic collapse, others of broken systems. A former nurse from Chicago lives in a tunnel near the rail yard, tending to wounds and infections with expired medical supplies. A man who once worked in IT wires small lights for others in exchange for canned food. The skills they once used in the world above now sustain the fragile infrastructure below. Even in exile, purpose survives. Above ground, outreach teams and documentarians occasionally descend to glimpse this world. The experience is disorienting. Heat gives way to chill, noise to stillness, colour to grey. The tunnels strip away illusion, leaving only the raw mechanics of survival. To the untrained eye, it seems like despair. To those who live there, it's life distilled to its simplest form. One outreach worker once said that the people underground have built a society from scraps, a democracy of necessity. It isn't utopia, but it is order amid collapse. For some, the tunnels represent freedom. They live without curfews, rent, or interference. There are no social workers, landlords, or police telling them how to exist. That freedom comes with risk, but to many, it's worth it. Up there, they tell me I'm nothing, said one resident in Los Angeles, but down here, I'm my own man. Yet even in this freedom, danger never leaves. Rats, snakes, mold, and contaminated water bring sickness. The air can grow toxic from chemicals or sewage leaks. The line between life and death is often as thin as the flicker of a candle. The psychological toll is immense. Weeks without daylight can distort time and erode mental health. Depression, paranoia, and hallucinations are common companions. The absence of mirrors and sunlight makes self-image vanish. Many forget what they look like. Others cling to symbols, a watch, a photograph, a single shirt kept clean, as anchors of identity. Yet even here, art persists. Tunnel walls bloom with murals, poetry, and cryptic symbols. Some are memorials to the dead, others simple declarations of existence.
Another rest in peace. People die out here.
These markings transform the concrete corridors into galleries of survival. The art is fleeting, paint washed away by floods, but it returns again, like grass through cracks in the pavement. Each brushstroke is defiance, a message to a city that has forgotten its own citizens. A handful of those who escape the tunnels never truly leave them behind. Some become advocates, helping outreach programs reach their former neighbours. They understand the codes, the routes, the quiet etiquette of underground life. Others return periodically, bringing food or clothes, unable to sever the bond entirely. Despite the harshness, there are moments of peace. When the city above sleeps and the tunnels are dry, the air stills. You can hear the distant echo of footsteps, the trickle of water, the soft hum of the earth itself. Some residents meditate in that silence, claiming it feels like a kind of purity the surface can't match. One man said he likes to sit alone in the dark, listening to the vibrations. "Up there it's all noise," he said. "Down here, I can finally hear myself think." At night, the tunnels transform. The air cools, the walls gleam with condensation, and distant city lights seep faintly through storm grates like stars viewed through fog. Conversations hush as people settle into sleep or silence. Some pray, some smoke, some just stare into the dark. Above them, nightlife pulses, bars, casinos, and street performers. But here, time dissolves into rhythm, marked only by the soft dripping of water and the breathing of those who remain awake. In Las Vegas, the underground community has evolved into a structured network. Certain tunnels are known for relative safety, others for danger. Word travels quickly about who to trust and which channels flood the fastest. Leadership forms naturally. Older residents act as guides or enforcers, keeping outsiders from stealing or disturbing the fragile balance. Many of them have lived underground for more than a decade, knowing every turn and echo as intimately as one might know the hallways of a childhood home. Material possessions are scarce but valued with intensity. A working flashlight, a clean blanket, or a pair of dry socks can mean everything. Cigarettes, batteries, and canned food act as currency, traded in quiet negotiations. Loyalty is measured not by words but by actions, sharing a meal, helping patch a wall, warning others before the rain. In a society stripped to its bones, morality becomes practical. Help keeps you alive, greed gets you exiled. To betray someone underground is to risk isolation in a place where loneliness can kill as surely as hunger. Fear of discovery is constant. City workers occasionally sweep the tunnels, clearing camps and destroying personal belongings. Flood control crews and police enter with flashlights and masks, shouting for everyone to leave. When they go, silence returns, but the loss lingers. Everything must be rebuilt, again and again. "It's like living on borrowed ground," one resident said. "The city lets us stay until it remembers we exist." Many interpret these sweeps as proof that society's compassion is conditional, offered only as long as it stays invisible. The tunnels amplify contrasts between chaos and calm. On one night, laughter echoes as people share stories or play cards. On another, someone screams in withdrawal or rage. Violence happens, but rarely without reason. Theft, drugs, and desperation occasionally break the uneasy peace, but the code of survival restrains most conflicts. In darkness, even a small noise carries for miles, and everyone knows who did what. Reputation spreads faster than any rumor. Justice here is crude, but effective. The tunnels also act as shelters for the forgotten veterans of war. Many who served overseas returned with trauma and no support, drifting through the cracks until the only refugee left was beneath the streets they once defended. Some still keep their medals in plastic bags, others hang faded flags over their sleeping spaces. One veteran in Las Vegas said, "I used to dig trenches in Iraq, now I live in one." His tone was matter of fact, not bitter, just a statement of symmetry between two forms of survival. To walk through these tunnels is to see two Americas layered on top of each other, one of abundance and one of absence. The concrete between them is thin, yet almost no one crosses it willingly. The people underground have built a parallel civilization from what the surface discarded, a reflection not of failure, but of adaptation. They are the city's unacknowledged architects, reshaping its ruins into refuge. And in that silence, beneath the roar of highways and casinos, the pulse of unseen humanity continues, steady and unbroken beneath the world that forgot it existed.